do you see the business broker? I mean, how do you see the activity? Real estate has reduced a little bit in activity recently because of the high interest rates. Uh, are these two related, interrelated? The business brokerage and real estate? I know it's two different industries, but do
Yeah,
you
they're different.
see um, top
What I've seen is the smaller businesses um, are much slower.
to be sold?
Slower to be sold, fewer inquiries. Just the micro businesses are having a tough time. Any business that's under maybe 500,000, they're having a harder time selling. There's a lot of people looking for businesses in that, $2 to $10 million range and up. And those you get a ton of interest. It's just it's about finding the right match, because there's people that, for example, you might have a like a concrete company, okay? And you get a ton of inquiries on it from people that have no construction licenses. They see the cash flow, and they want to buy the business, and they want to be absentee owners, and they want the seller to continue running the business. Like, well, that's not what the seller's looking to retire.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you need somebody, so then they say, well, okay, let me just have the seller continue to be the responsible employee, or not even the REM, it's the RMO, responsible managing officer. Let me have the seller continue to be your RMO until I can get my license.
Mhm.
And a lot of the sellers don't want to do that. They don't want the liability. They don't want to stick around for that long. It can take 2 or 3 years. So, and if the person has no experience, at least if the person's experienced and they were working for another concrete company or something like that, or for another construction company, and they understand the trades. So there's a lot of that going on, a lot of search funds, a lot of people looking for good businesses that have good cash flow. And those are easier to sell as long as you have a reasonable seller. But you also have to understand that sellers, when they start talking to you about selling their business that they spent 30 or 40 years to build, it's like one of their children.
Mhm.
And so the more real that it becomes, you can start marketing the business, doing all kinds of things. As you start getting offers in and LOIs in, you start seeing the seller's behavior change, because the seller is starting to get concerned, because now it's real, and it's like, well, wait a second. What am I going to do if I don't go into the business every day?
Mm.
May I add something on the
Of
sales
course.
side of things?
Yeah.
So I did a recent presentation to a group, and I talked about commercial real estate and also business sales. And there is, Samir, yeah, there is a slowdown that's taken place. And I did a historic look back on commercial real estate sales for LA County and Orange County. And they pretty much mirrored each other in terms of volume, not number of sales, because there's more real estate that's being transacted in LA County than Orange County. But when it came to commercial sales, we peaked, and I'm looking at the chart right now. And if you want me to do a slide share, and that's up to you, I could share it with you guys.
Sure, go ahead.
So let's see, I'll do a share real quick. And this is what it looked like. So share. And here it is.
Now, I know a lot of you are not in LA or Orange, so not even in California. Some of you are not even in California, but should still be a little interesting.
Can you guys see the chart or
Yeah.
the graph?
Yes.
So basically, we peaked in 2017, and where we are today is like, a third of what we did back in 2017. So, I mean, that's a function of a whole bunch of things, uncertainty, inflation, COVID, interest rates is really a big factor to a lot of these guys that are on the sidelines. So that was really interesting that I shared with what's going on with this group. And then I did another sort of like look back for commercial business sales. And this was like nationwide. So according to BizBuySell, and this is a historic look back, in 2019, we had a total that was reported, right? There's a lot of like listings out there, but not a lot of these listings actually do close. So a lot of them is still on the market or whatever reason, overpriced, bad marketing. But in 2019, BizBuySell reported 9,700 transactions in that year. And as of 2024 year end, they reported 9,500 sales. And 24 was better than 23. In 23, we closed a total of 9,100 transactions. So yeah, there is a
Fun.
slowdown, but I think on the business side of things, it's starting to pick up again.
Yeah, John, you can stop the screen share.
Yep.
Great, thanks. Yeah, BizBuySell Insights, if you go on to bizbuysell.com and you scroll down to the very bottom, they have a link to an insights report, and you can take a look at that insights report. And it is very interesting. It's like in any given quarter, there's somewhere between 30,000 and 40,000 businesses for sale. But if you look at the number that actually sell in any given quarter, it's somewhere between, 2,500, 2,600, somewhere in that range.
It's
So-
really cool. It actually breaks it down by like area as well, by geographic area.
Yeah.
So you get a very good sense of where things are at. And believe it or not, year over year, it seems like LA or California seems to always be, the most amount of transactions that take place. And Florida is always like second up. Like they're so close. Like it's just a few sales off.
That's funny.
To take the lead. So California and Florida are like the, big business states.
I would think Florida actually would be would have a higher number of sales, just because, well, so here's the thing though. Florida has their own business broker MLS system
Yes.
that they advertise in. And in Florida, if you're a business broker, you join the Business Broker Association, you're required to post all your listings in the Business Broker MLS. And they co-broker on almost everything. Well, I shouldn't say almost everything, but they co-broker a large percentage of their transactions, which they're the only state in the United States that does that. I mean, I think the but it's very common in Florida. And somebody told me, I'd have to look it up, but for years they had, I think it was out of necessity, because by statute, for a number of years, up until probably maybe 10 years ago, they were prohibited from representing both buyer and seller. There was no dual agency allowed in the state of Florida. And so they had to co-broker, right? That has since then changed, and now it's not prohibited by law. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. Things are done a little bit differently there.
How do you see the